English Leap Podcast.
From Speak English with Class.
Hey, English learners. Welcome back to the English Leap Podcast, your cozy little place to learn easy English through real, everyday conversations. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jake.
So, quick question. Have you ever made a really big goal, felt completely on fire about it for about 3 days, and then quietly stopped?
Have I? I once wrote out an entire 5-year life plan in a brand new notebook. Very beautiful notebook, by the way. Nice pen, nice handwriting.
And
I believe I abandoned it on page 2.
Page 2?
Page 2.5, if we are being generous.
That is very generous.
Thank you. I am healing.
But honestly, if that story sounds familiar, you are in the right place today, because today's episode is about small goals, not the kind that look impressive on a vision board, the kind that actually work in real life.
And before we jump in, if this podcast helps you practice English in a calm and natural way, give this episode a like and subscribe to the English Leap podcast. It really helps us keep making these conversations for you.
And we have a small challenge for you today. Write one small goal in the comments. Just one. Maybe, I will learn one English phrase a day, or I will speak English for 2 minutes.
Keep it small, okay? Do not write, I will become a completely new person by Monday.
Please do not do that to yourself.
Just one small goal you can actually keep this week. We would love to read it. And this is a B2 level English conversation, so the language is natural and a little more detailed, but we keep it clear and easy to follow. So even if some words are new for you, just stay with us.
And later in the episode, we have our word tour, where we look at some stronger vocabulary for talking about goals and progress. Really useful words if you want to sound more natural in English.
But first, the main conversation. And I want to start with something that I think is really important. Most people do not fail because they are lazy.
No, they fail because their goal is too big for the life they actually live.
That one hit differently.
Good. Let's talk about it. So let's start at the beginning. Why do big goals fail so often? Because people do not usually make big goals when they are tired or stressed. They make them when they feel amazing.
Right. You have had a great weekend, you slept well, you watched something inspiring, and suddenly you're sitting there thinking, I'm going to wake up at 5 every morning, run 5 kilometers, read 20 pages, study a new language, and cook healthy food every single day.
And of course, Jake, you write it all down on page 1 of the beautiful notebook.
Page 1 is always brilliant. Page 1 is full of dreams and ambition and very neat handwriting.
But the problem is that you made that plan as your motivated self, and your motivated self and your tired Tuesday self are very different people.
Oh, Anna, that is such a real thing. Motivated Saturday Jake and Tuesday evening Jake are basically strangers.
Tuesday evening Jake has just come home from work. He's tired, maybe a little stressed, he hasn't eaten properly, and suddenly the plan he made on Saturday feels completely impossible.
Yes, and it's not because I changed my mind about wanting those things. I still want them. It's just that the goal was designed for a perfect version of my life, and real life is never perfect.
Exactly. Real life has bad sleep and unexpected meetings and family stuff and low moods and days where you just can't find the energy. And a goal that only works on your best days is not really a goal, it's a wish.
And I think the other problem is trying to change everything at once. Like if I decide I'm going to completely transform my mornings, my evenings, my diet, and my social life all at the same time, even if I manage it for 3 days, one bad day will knock the whole thing down.
Yes, because when everything is connected and one thing fails, it can feel like everything failed.
And then you feel worse than when you started, which makes it even harder to try again.
Which is why we need to talk about small goals. Not because small goals are all you deserve, but because small goals actually survive real life.
That's the part I like, Anna. Small goals are not small because your dream is small. They're small because your real life has to carry them.
Beautifully said, Jake. And that takes us to the next point.
So when we say small goals, what are we actually talking about? Because I think a lot of people hear small goal and feel a little bit embarrassed, like, oh, is this all I'm capable of?
And that's such an important point. There's this idea that if your goal is not dramatic and impressive, it doesn't count. But that's completely wrong.
I used to think that way. Like, I'm going to read one page before bed sounds almost too small to be worth saying out loud.
I get it, Jake. But here's the thing. A small goal is not a weak goal. A small goal is a manageable goal.
Manageable, so small enough that you can actually handle it.
Yes, small enough to fit into real life even when the day is messy. A manageable goal doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to show up even when things aren't ideal. And that's actually very hard to do consistently.
So manageable doesn't mean easy, it means realistic.
Exactly. And there's a big difference. Reading one page before bed every night for a month is harder than it sounds because you have to do it on the tired nights too, on the nights when you'd rather scroll your phone or just sleep.
Which is most nights, honestly.
Jake.
I said what I said.
Fair. And the other thing about small goals is that they are sustainable. You can keep doing them. They do not burn you out after 1 week.
Sustainable, so they last longer.
Yes, they survive. A big dramatic effort might produce results for a few days, but if it exhausts you or takes more willpower than you actually have, it disappears. A small goal that you repeat every day for 6 months will beat a big goal that you gave up after a week every single time.
So the size of the goal matters less than whether you actually keep doing it.
Much less. And people feel embarrassed about small goals because we are surrounded by stories of extreme effort and big transformation. But nobody posts on social media about the fact that they opened their English app for 5 minutes before bed every night for 3 months.
No, you post the dramatic before and after story. The lighting, the music, the big emotional caption.
Right. But the 5 minutes every night is often what got them there.
That is actually comforting because it means the little thing I can do today is not pointless.
Not pointless at all. It may be small, but it is still proof that you are moving.
Okay, Anna, this next part I think is really interesting because it's not just about the goal itself, it's about how achieving or not achieving a goal changes how you feel about yourself.
Yes, and this is something people do not talk about enough. Every time you make a promise to yourself and you don't keep it, it affects something called self-trust.
Self-trust, so trusting yourself.
Yes, believing that when you say you're going to do something, you will actually do it. And self-trust is quietly very important because if you've broken a lot of promises to yourself, you start to doubt yourself even before you begin.
That's a bit uncomfortable to hear, but also very true.
And it's not about blame, Jake. Life is hard and goals are hard and everyone has been through this. But the good news is that self-trust can be rebuilt and small goals are one of the best ways to do it.
How?
Because you make a small promise to yourself and you keep it. And then you keep it again the next day and again the day after. And each time you're creating a small piece of emotional proof that you are someone who follows through.
So the goal is almost secondary. The real goal is proving to yourself that you can do what you said you would do.
Exactly. Even if the goal is just opening an English app for 5 minutes, even if it's just saying one sentence out loud in English when you're nervous, you did what you said you would do.
And I can actually feel that. When I do something small consistently, there's this quiet sense of, okay, I'm someone who does this, and that feeling grows.
And it becomes part of how you see yourself, not just what you're doing, but who you are.
Which makes it easier to keep going because it feels less like discipline and more like identity.
Yes, and that shift is really powerful. You stop thinking, I need to force myself to do this. You start thinking, this is just what I do.
That's a really nice feeling, actually, like the habit stops being a punishment and starts becoming part of your life.
Exactly, Jake. And that's where real change begins to feel calmer, not dramatic, not loud, just steady.
All right, let's talk about something I think is really satisfying, which is momentum.
Ooh, I love this one.
So momentum is that feeling when you have started something and it feels easier to keep going than to stop. Have you ever had that?
Absolutely. You sit down to do one thing and suddenly you have been doing it for an hour.
Right, because starting is almost always the hardest part. Once you're moving, it gets easier.
And this is why small goals are so useful for momentum, because they make starting almost effortless. If your goal is to go for a 5-minute walk, the barrier to beginning is so low that it is very hard to say no.
So what usually happens after the 5 minutes?
You keep walking because you are already outside, already moving, and it does not feel hard anymore.
I have definitely done that. I told myself I would just walk to the end of the street, and then I ended up walking for 20 minutes because it felt fine once I started.
And the same thing happens with English. You open your app telling yourself just 5 minutes, and 5 minutes later you're still doing it because the momentum is there.
So the goal was never really about 5 minutes. The 5-minute goal was just a trick to get you started.
A very kind, very clever trick.
I feel like I've been deceiving myself productively for years and did not know it.
That is honestly a great skill, Jake.
Thank you. Finally, my talent is being recognized.
We're proud of you.
But I think the important thing here is that we're not talking about long-term results yet. Right now, we're just talking about movement, about getting the ball rolling.
Yes, momentum is about starting. It's about getting from 0 to 1, because 0 is heavy. 0 has resistance, but once you're at 1, getting to 2 is so much easier.
Like a ball at the top of a hill. It takes a little push to get it moving, but once it starts rolling, it doesn't need much help.
That's exactly it. And small goals give you the push.
And honestly, that feels kinder than waiting for some huge wave of motivation.
Much kinder, because motivation comes and goes, but a small action is something you can choose, even when the motivation is not very loud. So we talked about momentum and getting started. Now let's look at something different. What happens over weeks and months when you keep up those small actions?
This is the long game, right?
This is the long game, and it is where small goals get really interesting, because small actions do not just add up, they compound.
Compound, like in finance, where money grows on itself?
Exactly like that. In finance, compound interest means that you earn interest on your interest, so the growth keeps building. And the same thing happens with skills, habits, and progress.
So it's not just that 1 + 1 = 2. It's more like each step makes the next step bigger.
Right. If you learn one useful English phrase every day, after 30 days, you have 30 phrases. But those phrases also make it easier to learn more phrases because you have more context, more connections in your brain, more confidence.
So the progress is incremental, but it's not flat.
Incremental. That is a good word, Jake. Can you say more about that?
Yeah. So incremental means happening in small steps, gradually, over time, not all at once. Like saving $5 a day feels like nothing on day 1, but after a year, that's almost $2,000.
And after 2 years, it's almost $4,000. And that's before you add any kind of interest.
Which sounds impossible when you think about saving $5 a day. It sounds too small to matter.
But that's the thing about incremental progress. It doesn't feel significant in the moment. You can't see it happening on a Tuesday. You see it when you look back over 3 months and realize how far you've come.
It's like growing your hair. You can't see it getting longer day by day, but after 6 months, you look in the mirror and think, oh, something definitely changed.
And this applies to everything. English, fitness, confidence, money, relationships. Small, consistent actions over time become something you couldn't have imagined on day 1.
Which is actually why people give up too early. They're comparing their day 3 to someone else's year 3.
Yes, and they stop before the compounding really starts, because compounding needs time. The most powerful growth happens after you've been consistent for a while.
So the best time to start a small goal is actually today, because every day you wait is a day of compounding you miss.
That's a little bit motivating and a little bit alarming at the same time.
Welcome to personal development, Anna.
Thank you, Jake. I feel inspired and slightly attacked.
That's usually how growth feels.
Okay, so let's get really practical now. How do you actually choose a small goal that you'll keep? Because I think this is where a lot of people go wrong, even when they know they should start small.
They start small and then immediately make it bigger.
Jake?
I am speaking from experience. I say I will walk for 5 minutes, and then within a week I have somehow signed up for a 10K race.
Why are you like this?
I genuinely do not know.
So the first thing is to make the goal very clear, not I will do more exercise. That is too vague. Something like I will walk for 10 minutes after dinner on weekdays. You know exactly what it is, when it happens, and how long it takes.
So specific enough that you cannot argue with yourself about whether you did it or not.
Right. There is no version of, I think I kind of exercised. You either walked for 10 minutes or you did not.
And then the goal should be small enough to do on a bad day, not on your best day, on a Tuesday when you're tired and stressed and dinner was a bit of a disaster.
Because if the goal only works on easy days, it will not build the habit. The goal needs to be small enough that even on a hard day, you can say, okay, I can still do this.
Which is why read 1 page before bed works better than read 30 pages every night. Because even when I'm exhausted, 1 page is possible.
And then connect it to your real life. If you commute every day, that's 10 minutes you could use to listen to English. If you make tea every morning, that's 5 minutes you could spend reviewing a phrase.
So you're not adding the habit to your life, you're folding it into what's already there.
Exactly. And then track it simply. You don't need an app or a complicated system. A small mark on a calendar or in a notebook is enough. Just something visual that shows you it's happening.
The notebook is finally being used for good.
Finally, Jake, a redemption story.
The notebook deserves its moment.
And then celebrate quietly. You don't need fireworks, just a moment of noticing, hey, I did that. I said I would, and I did. That's enough.
And the most important one, I think, do not restart from zero after missing 1 day.
Missing 1 day is not failure. Missing 1 day is just a day. The goal is still there. The habit is still mostly built. You just pick it up again the next day, quietly and without drama.
Because the moment you say, okay, I missed a day, so it's all ruined, you're giving yourself an excuse to stop completely. And that's the real failure, not the missed day.
The missed day is just a pause. It happens to everyone, and it doesn't undo what you've already built.
It's like tripping while walking. You don't stop walking, you just catch yourself and carry on.
And over time, small goals stop feeling like effort. They just become part of your routine, part of who you are. And that's when the real change happens.
And it started with something so small that you almost felt embarrassed to say it out loud.
Which is exactly why small goals are not weak. They're smart, they're sustainable, and they work.
Even for people who fill 2 pages of a notebook and then quit?
Especially for those people, Jake.
Good. I feel seen.
And now that we've talked about how small goals actually work, let's slow down and look at some of the stronger words we use today.
Because these words will help you talk about goals, progress, and motivation in a much more natural way.
So let's begin today's word tour. Let's start with manageable. This is such a useful word when you talk about goals.
Yes, manageable means something is not too difficult to handle. It feels possible.
Say it slowly with us. Manageable.
Manageable.
The easiest sentence is, make the goal manageable.
That means make it small enough that you can actually do it.
Right. If your goal is too big, it may feel exciting at first, but then it becomes heavy.
So instead of saying, I will study English for 3 hours every day, I can say, I will study for 10 minutes. That feels manageable.
Perfect. And you can also say, this feels manageable.
Like 10 minutes of practice feels manageable.
Yes, very natural.
What about the opposite?
The opposite is unmanageable. If something is too much to handle, you can say, this feels unmanageable.
Like studying 50 new words in 1 evening feels unmanageable.
Because it probably is, Jake.
My brain would leave the room.
Gently, yes.
Let's make it a mini conversation.
Are you still trying to study for 2 hours every night?
No, I changed it to 15 minutes. It feels more manageable now.
Good. That sounds realistic.
So instead of saying this goal is easier, say this goal is more manageable.
And instead of saying this is too hard to handle, say this feels unmanageable.
Our next word is sustainable.
This word is perfect for small goals because a good goal should not just work for 1 day, it should work for real life.
Sustainable means something can continue for a long time.
Say it slowly with us. Sustainable.
Sustainable.
A natural sentence is small goals are more sustainable.
So sustainable means I can keep doing it without burning out.
Exactly. A huge goal may look impressive, but if you quit after 5 days, it is not sustainable.
Like waking up at 5, running, journaling, cooking, learning Spanish, learning English, and becoming a new person before breakfast.
Jake, that sounds exhausting before it even starts.
It was exhausting in my imagination.
A sustainable goal fits your energy, your time, and your real life.
So I can say 10 minutes of English practice every day is sustainable.
Yes, very natural.
Can I say this routine is sustainable?
Yes, that means you can keep doing the routine for a long time. Let's make it real.
Are you still doing that 2-hour workout every morning?
No, it was too much. Now I walk for 15 minutes. It is more sustainable.
That sounds much better.
So instead of saying, I can keep doing this, say, this is sustainable.
And instead of saying, this plan is too much, say, this plan is not sustainable.
The next word is self-trust.
This one feels deeper.
It does. Self-trust means believing that you can rely on yourself.
Say it slowly with us. Self-trust.
Self-trust.
So if I say, small goals build self-trust, I mean, they help me believe in myself again?
Yes, not in a loud way, in a quiet, honest way.
Because every time I keep a small promise, I prove something to myself.
Exactly. You prove, I said I would do this, and I did it.
That feels different from motivation. Motivation is like a big feeling. Self-trust is more like quiet evidence.
Beautifully said, Jake.
Thank you. Page 2 Jake is growing.
We love to see it. A simple sentence is, I am rebuilding my self-trust.
That sounds natural after someone has quit many goals before.
Yes. You can also say, keeping small promises builds self-trust.
And if someone asks, why are small goals important? I can say, they help me rebuild my self-trust.
Perfect. Mini conversation? Why did you choose such a small goal?
Because I want to rebuild my self-trust. I want to prove to myself that I can keep going.
That is honest and powerful.
So instead of saying, I want to believe in myself again, say, I want to rebuild my self-trust.
And instead of saying, small promises help me, say, small promises build self-trust.
Well, our next word is momentum.
I love this word because it explains why starting small works so well.
Momentum means the energy that keeps something moving after it is started.
Say it slowly with us. Momentum.
Momentum.
A natural sentence is, small actions create momentum.
So, momentum is not about the final result, it is about getting started and keeping movement going.
Yes. Imagine a ball. At first, you need to push it, but once it starts rolling, it becomes easier.
Like when I say, I will clean for 5 minutes, and then somehow I clean half the room.
Somehow?
Accidentally productive, Anna.
That is the best kind.
You can say, I need to build momentum.
That means you need to start with something small so movement begins.
You can also say, once I started, I gained momentum.
Very natural. For example, I opened my English app for 5 minutes, and then I gained momentum and studied for 20.
Can I say, the momentum is gone?
Yes, if you stop for a long time, you can say, I lost momentum.
Like, I missed a few weeks and lost momentum.
Exactly. Let's make it real.
I did not feel like studying, so I started with one short exercise.
And then?
Then I gained momentum and kept going.
Perfect.
So instead of saying I started and continued, say I gained momentum.
And instead of saying I stopped and lost my rhythm, say I lost momentum. Our next word is compound.
This is the word for small actions becoming bigger over time.
Compound means to grow because small things keep building on each other.
Say it slowly with us. Compound.
Compound.
So if small habits compound, they become more powerful over time?
Yes, one small action may not look impressive today, but when you repeat it, the results build.
Like learning one English phrase a day. One phrase feels tiny, but after 1 year, that is a lot of useful English.
Exactly. And the phrases also connect. They help you understand more, speak more, and feel more confident.
So the growth is not just adding, it is building.
Yes, that is the idea of compound growth. A natural sentence is small habits compound over time.
You can also say small efforts compound.
Or confidence compounds when you practice regularly.
That means every little practice session makes the next one easier.
Exactly.
Let's make it a mini conversation.
Do you really think 5 minutes of English can help?
Yes, 5 minutes look small, but small efforts compound over time.
That sounds mature and natural.
So instead of saying small things become big later, say small actions compound over time.
And instead of saying my confidence slowly grew, say my confidence compounded through daily practice.
And our final word is incremental.
This is a very useful B2 word for progress.
Incremental means happening slowly, step by step, in small amounts.
Say it slowly with us. Incremental.
Incremental.
A natural phrase is incremental progress.
That means progress that happens little by little?
Yes, not dramatic, not overnight, just small improvement that slowly builds.
So English fluency is usually incremental.
Yes, very natural. You do not wake up one morning suddenly fluent. You improve through small, repeated practice.
That is comforting and slightly annoying.
Why annoying?
Because I would like the sudden fluency option, please.
Same, Jake, same.
You can say the changes were incremental.
That means the changes happened slowly, not all at once.
You can also say, I am making incremental progress.
Perfect. That is useful when progress is real, but slow.
What about incrementally?
Yes, incrementally is the adverb. You can say, I improved incrementally.
So slowly, step by step.
Exactly. Mini conversation?
Do you feel your English is improving?
Yes, but incrementally. I notice small changes every week.
That sounds very honest.
Encouraging. So instead of saying, I am improving slowly, say, I am making incremental progress.
And instead of saying the change happened step by step, say the change happened incrementally.
So today's 6 words are manageable, sustainable, self-trust, momentum, compound, and incremental.
Beautiful. These words are perfect for talking about goals, habits, progress, and real change.
And honestly, they all remind us of the same thing. You do not have to change your whole life in one day.
You just need one small promise you can keep.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode.
Remember, small goals are not weak. They are often the goals that actually survive real life.
So this week, choose one small goal you can keep. Maybe one phrase, 5 minutes of listening, or one sentence spoken out loud.
Tell us in the comments, what is one small goal you want to try this week?
If this episode helped you, please like, subscribe, and tell us if this upgraded word tour was useful.
Take care of your English.
And take care of your heart. This is Anna.
And this is Jake.
And you have been listening to the English Leap podcast. Bye!
Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your English skills, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you.